In 2017, the United States Navy commissioned the most expensive warship ever built, $13 billion, the most advanced aircraft carrier on the planet, a floating fortress packed with cutting-edge radar, a next-generation nuclear reactor, and a launch system designed to replace technology that had been standing strong since World War II. It was supposed to be untouchable, a symbol of American engineering at its absolute peak. And for nearly 4 years, it couldn't reliably move its own weapons. Not because of an enemy, not because of combat damage, because of an elevator. This isn't a story about failure for the sake of failure. It's a story about what happens when you try to build the future all at once, and what gets exposed when the smallest piece of an enormous machine refuses to work. This is the story of the USS Gerald R. Ford and the weapons elevators that almost grounded America's most powerful aircraft carrier before it ever fired a shot. I'm here at Fleet Depth, where we dig into the engineering stories the Navy doesn't put in the press release. And if you want to understand how the most powerful Navy on Earth actually works, behind the steel and the headlines, hit subscribe before we go any further. Because this story has layers most people never hear about. To understand why this mattered so much, you have to understand what an aircraft carrier actually is. It's not just a runway in the middle of the ocean. It's not just a floating airport for fighter jets. At its core, a carrier is a delivery system, a machine built for one purpose: to get bombs and missiles onto aircraft and aircraft into the sky as fast and as often as humanly possible. Every part of a carrier's design serves that single function: the flight deck, the catapults, the hangar bay below, and buried in between all of it, connecting the magazines deep in the ship's hull to the aircraft waiting above, are the weapons elevators. These aren't elevators in the way you're picturing them. They don't carry people to their office floor. They carry bombs, missiles. Tens of thousands of pounds of live ordnance are moved vertically through a warship, again and again, sometimes under combat conditions, sometimes in rough seas, and always under pressure. If those elevators don't work, it doesn't matter how advanced your radar is. It doesn't matter how fast your jets are. A carrier without functioning weapons, elevators is, for all practical purposes, just an extremely expensive place for planes to sit. And that's exactly the position the Navy found itself in. For decades, the system the Navy used to move weapons through a carrier was simple, mechanical, and proven. The same basic principle as the freight elevator in any old industrial building, just scaled up to handle thousands of pounds of explosives. It wasn't elegant, but it worked. When the Navy designed the Ford-class carrier, the first new carrier design in over 40 years, they decided the old system wasn't good enough. They wanted something faster, something that could carry more weight, something that could keep up with a new generation of aircraft and a faster pace of combat operations. So they replaced the cables with magnets. The new system was called the Advanced Weapons Elevator, or AWE. Instead of mechanical winches pulling a platform up through the ship, the AWE used electromagnetic linear motors, the same basic technology behind some high-speed trains, to move ordnance vertically without a single cable. On paper, it was a massive upgrade. The new elevators could carry over twice the weight of the old ones and move at 1.5 times the speed. Faster reloading, more sorties, a real, measurable advantage in how quickly the carrier could put weapons in the air. It is not just an upgrade, it's a complete reinvention of a system that hadn't fundamentally changed in generations. There was just one problem: nobody had ever actually built one before. Here's something most people don't know about the Ford's elevator system. There isn't just one design. There are 11 separate elevators, spread across multiple deck levels, and because of the ship's layout, each one required its own individual engineering and programming. Think about what that actually means. It's not one complicated machine the Navy needed to perfect. It's 11 different complicated machines, each with its own quirks, its own software, and its own physical constraints, and every one of them had to work flawlessly before the ship could be considered combat ready. The first elevator was delivered in December 2018. It wasn't accepted by the crew until more than a year later, after the Navy discovered the original electromagnetic design had fundamental flaws that needed to be reworked, and that was just elevator number 1. Over the following years, the same story repeated again and again, elevator after elevator. Components didn't behave the way engineers expected. Software that worked on one elevator failed on another, because no 2 of the 11 were installed in identical conditions. By 2019, the Navy admitted to investigators that as many as 70 elevator doors and 17 hatches across the ship didn't meet the required specifications. Here's a simple one for you. Have you ever had to fix something while you were still using it, like repairing a car while still driving it to work every day? Drop your answer below, because that's basically what the Navy was doing with an $11 billion warship. While engineers worked elevator by elevator, the consequences kept stacking up. The Ford was originally supposed to be delivered in 2015 at a contracted cost of roughly $10.5 billion. Instead, it wasn't fully ready until years later, and the final price tag climbed past $13 billion, a 6-year delay, nearly $3 billion over budget. And the elevators weren't the only system causing problems. The ship's new electromagnetic launch system and its waste handling systems were having their own teething issues at the same time. But the elevators became the symbol of everything that had gone wrong. By 2019, the frustration had reached the highest levels of the Navy. The Secretary of the Navy himself publicly stated that if the elevator problem wasn't resolved quickly, heads needed to roll. Members of Congress who had been tracking the issue for years didn't hide their irritation either. One senior senator pointed out something simple and devastating. Every year the Ford sat without functioning elevators was another year the Navy's other 10 carriers had to deploy longer, more often, and with less downtime to cover the gap. It is not just a delayed ship. It's a delayed ship that puts strain on every other ship in the fleet, all because of a part most people would never think twice about. So how do you solve a problem this size? Slowly, methodically, one elevator at a time. Teams of engineers, electricians, and Navy technicians worked around the clock, through holidays and through extended deployments at sea, testing each elevator individually, identifying what made it different from the others, and adjusting the design and programming until it met the required specifications. It wasn't glamorous work. It was thousands of hours of troubleshooting a system nobody had ever operated before on a ship that was simultaneously trying to train its crew, conduct sea trials, and prepare for its first real-world deployment. By December 2021, more than 3 years after the first elevator had been delivered, the 11th and final advanced weapons elevator was certified and handed over to the ship's crew. For the first time since the Ford had been commissioned, the entire weapons handling system was fully operational. It wasn't just a maintenance milestone, it was the moment the most expensive warship in history finally became what it was designed to be. It's tempting to look at this story and see only failure. Years of delay, billions over budget, a warship that couldn't do the one thing a warship needs to do. But there's a deeper truth buried in the wreckage of those delays. The Navy didn't fail because they played it safe. They struggled because they refused to. They could have kept the old cable-driven elevators, proven, reliable, boring. Instead, they bet on a system that had never existed before, on a scale that had never been attempted, because the payoff, faster reloads, more sorties, a real tactical edge, was worth the risk. That bet cost years and billions of dollars to pay off. But today, the Ford's elevators move ordnance faster and carry more weight than any carrier elevator system in history. Every Ford-class carrier built, after it inherits a system that's already been tested under fire, figuratively and increasingly, literally. It is not just a story about an elevator. It's a story about what it actually costs to build the future instead of repeating the past. The next time you see footage of an aircraft carrier launching jets off its deck, remember what's happening just beneath that flight deck, completely out of frame. Somewhere below, in a part of the ship most people will never see, a system most people have never heard of, is quietly doing the one job that makes everything above it possible. For nearly 4 years, that system was the most expensive problem in the United States Navy. Today, it's one of the most advanced pieces of engineering on any warship in the world. That's the real story behind America's most advanced carrier. Not just the jets, not just the reactor, but the unglamorous, overlooked systems that determine whether all of it actually works. If stories like this, the hidden engineering battles behind the world's most powerful warships, are exactly what you came here for, this is what we do at Fleet Depth. Hit subscribe, because there's a lot more buried beneath the surface than most people ever get to see.